Jayson Tatum had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists in Friday's debut. Then on Sunday, the Tatum takeover continued as the Celtics squared off against the surging Cavs. Let's just get you to the highlight, shall we? There he is. Good return, second game back, taking on the Beard and them. First quarter, come on.
Back like you never left.
Truly, in rhythm. No issues, Tim. Minute later, look at this old duo. Doing great. I mean, who said 10 months wear?
I like the aggressiveness, man.
Yes. It's nonsensical. All right, a lot going on here in this play. Harden trying to make it work.
Nobody get a rebound.
Anyone.
That was the story of the entire game for the Cavs. They could not make a single shot.
Not a thing. They could not get it going. All right, here we go. Jump to the third quarter.
Early in the third. Tatum
Ooh.
lost it on the spin move.
They got you, JT, but it's okay.
Into the game as well. Merrill floats it up top.
Ooh,
Started to make this a game.
But,
Back after.
we were waiting for it.
Oh, break.
Don't forget about JB.
Well, it was interesting to see as this game went on. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, they all were able to get wherever they wanted on the court without much issue.
Right.
Cavs couldn't do much to stop. And then we got this pass.
What is this?
If I've seen a better alley-oop pass.
It's as good a pass. Like, you literally couldn't place it better than putting it right on the rim for Evan Mobley to throw it down.
Kid, maybe.
Insane.
Arjun said on the broadcast, Jason Kidd like that.
It's nonsensical.
Yeah, this has
Here we
also
go.
been a huge
Let's do
development, too. Obviously, Jayson Tatum can step up and hit this shot.
Beautiful.
But Emes Kata's development
Yeah.
center has been a huge thing for Boston this year. Big part of why they're in the position they are on
Here's JT afterwards.
I think we did a good job. Obviously, every game you can learn something, win or lose, but I can't stress it enough, man. I'm just happy to be out here playing on the team with the guys, competing, making plays, making mistakes. Just happy to be out here.
So with the win, the Celtics moves just 2.5 games from the Pistons for that top seed in the East. They've won 14 of their last 17 games. Insane. They are rolling. MJ Acosta-Ruiz here with Ramona Shelbourne, Tim Bontemps, and Mark Spears in the house. Looking very dapper. Jayson Tatum is averaging 17.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists in 2 games since returning to the Celtics lineup. Tim, what is your reaction just seeing him these last couple games?
I mean, it's really goes back to what I've been saying the last couple months, which is if Jayson Tatum can get back on the court and look anything like the guy he was before he got hurt, the Celtics have to be the favorites in the Eastern Conference playoffs coming up in a few weeks. And the way these first 2 games went, you have to feel great if you're Jayson Tatum, the Boston Celtics, and their fan base. He could not have looked better in this game. And it wasn't that he came out and hit it every single shot. He obviously looked a little bit rusty shooting the ball, but he got back to being a great help defender, making these passes like that one to Emes Kata there, hitting spot-up threes. He's always been an excellent player in terms of his ability to fill out the stat sheet across the board, to do all the little things required to help a team win. He did all that stuff and more in these first 2 games. And for a guy who hadn't played in 10 months, you have to be thrilled to see him come back the way.
Yeah, I mean, he literally could not have had a better start to these 2 games. And one thing that I like, though, is that he focused on defense and setting guys up and playing within the flow of that Boston offense. And I think, he said, I was just trying to get a feel for the game. And I texted with him a little bit over the weekend, and he said, I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm still just trying to find it again, find my rhythm. And on defense, he goes, I like playing defense. I like focusing in that way because I don't have to think. I'm just reacting out there on the court. I'm not thinking about how's my leg feeling or anything. And once he started to hit a couple shots in that first game, he didn't shoot the ball well at first, and then he got the dunk, and then he started making a couple threes. He's finding it faster than anybody would have imagined. I think he played more than we all would have thought. And Tim, you're right. That's a scary team right there because this isn't just a guy coming back. This is a guy who's played and led them to a championship before. They know how to play together already.
It's a different level for sure. Mark, as you watch Tatum back on the floor, what comes to mind?
May 12th last year is when he went down. It's not even a year, and this man is back on the court. I remember talking to his dad a day or 2 after that, and he said they had a very emotional conversation in which Jayson had said, "Why me? Why me?" His father told him it's God's will, and he said, "Remember, your idol's Kobe Bryant, and you'll come back from this Achilles injury, just like Kobe Bryant did," and he did. His dad actually got some heat because he told me that he would be back next season, and I don't think the family really wanted Jayson to have some pressure on him, but he certainly has some Mamba mentality with this. the way he worked, and we saw some videos of how he worked and got stronger and he dunked. I mean, he was showing us that he was coming back, but you just, in the back of your mind, you're like, no way he would come back that quick. So shout out to him and shout out to the medical team and shout out to his pops for believing in him.
Well, that was the crazy thing about it. He did not look like a guy. I mean, you joked about it in the highlight. He didn't look like a guy who was out for 10 months. Like, if you had just seen this game dropped in the middle of last year, you'd have thought, yeah, Jayson Tatum had played a couple games. So, I mean, it's a hell of a start for him and for the Celtics, and, you know, they've really put the East on notice.
I'll say this. As the world was questioning whether or not Jayson Tatum never flinched about his return this season. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, no LeBron, not a problem. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves gave the Knicks all they could handle. Let's get you to the recap of this one. All right, Luka ready to go. LeBron missing his second straight game with that elbow injury. We pick it up in the third here, guys. Just Luka doing Luka things.
Very few guys could make anywhere close to that kind of shot, and Luka, I don't want to say makes it look easy, but it makes it look a lot easier than anybody
that's
else.
like a fall-away Dirk Nowitzki shot that usually was from the elbow, but that's from out by the baseline there.
Our little teamwork, Josh Hart getting it in there for New York.
One of the few highlights for the Knicks.
That's a charge. Did you see that? He took a charge.
Saw the money sign there from Luka Doncic. I would say he's very lucky the referees did not see that. He very well might have gotten his 16th technical foul.
Good point.
All right, here we go. Oh, he got swagger. Come on, Reeves.
It's nice to see Austin back doing that.
Did the money sign after that.
Well, it's nice to see Austin back doing that, too. He's obviously still coming back from these hamstring injuries he's been dealing with, and he's certainly starting to get back into a rhythm, which is good for the Lakers.
25 points and 5 assists on the night. Ooh, aggressive.
Now, Luke Kennard's had a much bigger role for the Lakers of late, and if he can continue to stay on the court defensively, then he's a real asset for them offensively.
Yeah, the Lakers taking out the win by quite a sizable margin. With his 35 points, Luka has now scored at least 30 in 7 straight games against the Knicks. He averages 30.8 points per game in his career against New York. That is the 3rd highest career scoring average against the Knicks, behind only Wilt and MJ. Malika Andrews caught up with Luka after the game. Take a listen.
Marcus Smart is sort of the head of your defense, but we saw you taking the charge here in this game. How?
2 charges. 2
charges in this game. Well, one that counted and another one. But how can this be the defense that we see night in and night out?
It's great, man. We hold them under the 100. They have great players. They just scored 142 against Denver. So today, the defense was amazing. Everybody was locked in. And obviously Smart, man. Smart has been so great this season for us.
So the Lakers improved to 9-2 this season in games played by Luka and Austin Reeves without LeBron James. By contrast, the Lakers are just 11-7 with all 3 stars in the lineup. I mean, those two know how to step up for sure. The Lakers have won 5 of their last 6 games and are 14 games over 500. But somehow, Ramona, it's still kind of hard to explain what their identity is.
Yeah, I mean, they won 5 of their 6, but most of those were against pretty bad teams. They should have beaten. I think their defense last night was really impressive in the sense that there's a team that we always question their defense, right? The Knicks are averaging 117 points a game. They held them to 97 in this one. And you saw Luka take that charge. You see Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's always doing that. But for Luka to be taking charges, for DeAndre Ayton to be flying around the ball, you know, I thought they played, Austin Reeves used this word after the game in his post-game interview. He said, playing a little grimier defense. Like, we don't see that from LA, but we saw that at points last year. They actually had a top 5 defense for part of the second half of last season. And if they can just get that back in doses, even if it's a game here or a game there against good teams like the Knicks, they have something.
I mean, they have something, but I think we should go back to that stat that we showed on the screen when they're 9-2 in games when Luka and Austin play and LeBron doesn't. And that's not some indictment of LeBron James, or is it an indictment of Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic that when any 2 of those 3 guys have been on the court, they have struggled this season. But the fact is, when you have 3 guys out there who are, at this point, I think it's fair to say, minus defenders, it is going to be very hard to build the kind of defense that we're talking about, Ramona. And like you just said, they had in that game yesterday. And that is something the Lakers are going to have to figure out over the final couple months of the season. The stats do not lie. When those 3 guys play together, they're negative on the season. And when it's any 2 of them together, the numbers go up quite a bit. So it is going to be a big challenge for J.J. Redick to get the defense to be in a good enough place to where these guys can really be a force in the Western Conference playoffs.
And Coach has been screaming about the defense all season long, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, Luka's making a defensive effort. Okay, I was impressed. Obviously, the elephant in the room is that they have a better record without LeBron James and with him. And to me, this is a view of what the Lakers are going to look like going forward. Whether LeBron James retires or goes into free agency, I don't expect him to be a Laker next season. And so to me, I think this is Rob Pelinka's chance when he doesn't play to kind of like look at this team, evaluate the team, and kind of see what Luka and AR need for the future. But it's obvious that they play great together. There's only one ball handler. They have great camaraderie, and to me, this is the future Laker team.
The biggest knock on Luka and AR defensively is that when they're on the court defensively, that's a tough backcourt, right? That is not a great defensive backcourt, and it reminds me a little bit of Steph Curry and Klay at the beginning of their career. Steph was not good defensively, but he made himself not bad. Like, you don't have to be good, you just have to be not bad. And if Luka can do that, then that backcourt can work.
Yeah, it can start to build a little bit, but they've got to get in rhythm if they want to continue to push past. And as we get down the stretch and closer to the playoffs. All right, coming up, a packed weekend around the Eastern Conference, starting in Atlanta. The Hawks have the best record in the East since the break. They beat the Sixers. An injury update, of course, Tyrese Maxey sprained his finger. Shams says he'll miss at least a couple games. Tim, is Philly in trouble?
Philly's definitely not in a good place. Tyrese Maxey going to miss at least a couple games, as Shams said, with that finger injury. Joel Embiid still dealing with an oblique. You got rookie VJ Edgecombe dealing with a back issue. This is a team that's now in 8th place in the compacted Eastern Conference standings, trying to avoid being in the play-in. All these injuries are not going to help them get out of it.
On to Milwaukee, where the Magic beat the Bucks by 39. Paolo Banchero had 33 in the win. Orlando is 7-3 since the break. Mark, what's different about this team?
I'm going to tell you a little-known secret. Paolo Banchero's been balling since the All-Star break. 26 points a game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 50% from the field, 4 30-plus games. He and Desmond Bane have been great together. They're moving up the ladder in the standings.
Meantime, in Toronto, the Raptors beat the Mavs by 30, tied for the largest win of the season. The Raptors, however, haven't beaten a team with a winning record since January. Rona, is this team trending towards a play-in spot?
They've been falling off a little bit here, but the best way to get well is to play the Mavericks, apparently, in the last 7 in a row, 17 of 19. I thought that was good. This is a good bounce back here. They hadn't won at home, too, so that's good to at least get a win on the board at home.
That always helps momentum for sure. Over to Phoenix. The Suns cooled off the hot Hornets shooting. They held Charlotte under 100 points for the first time since January 21st. Tim, do we still believe in the Hornets?
I think we do to a point. Obviously, they weren't going to be the hottest team in the NBA the rest of the season like they were for, frankly, 6 or 8 weeks. They did, however, less than a week ago, just rout the Celtics, so we spent the A block talking about how great they are. So they are not a team I would want to play in the Eastern Conference playoffs in the first round, assuming they can get out of the play-in. But their speed and athleticism in their youth, and this guy Konkanupo right there, who might be Rookie of the Year, they're going to be an interesting matchup going forward here down the stretch.
Man, and they're just so fun to watch. Over to Miami, 2 teams going in opposite directions. The 1-seed Pistons are sliding, and the Heat are on fire in March, riding a 4-game winning streak entering Sunday. So here's how it went down. Give him a cape, because Tyler Hero has been on a run. Look at that alley-oop.
It's good to see Tyler Hero back on the court. He's been dealing with injuries all season. He's barely been out there.
And when he's out there, it's different. Come on, 3.
Vinny, they could use Sar Thompson to guard Tyler Hero right now.
A little bit.
Thank you for Sar Thompson to guard anybody.
Hi, Vince. Here, just enjoy the Hero montage for a minute.
Listen,
but don't forget about this man. Third quarter, bam, bam.
How about Bam finally getting fully stretched out from three-point range? That's been an interesting development for the Heat.
24 points on the night for him, by the way. And the Bam Hero combo, elite.
Now he's second guy in franchise history, I believe, with 10,000 points. Joining Dwayne Wade this weekend.
Yeah, they won't be fun to play in the playoffs.
The Heat take the win, and here is Coach Bickerstaff after.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NBA, right? And you look at the season, it's long. Everybody goes through, difficult times or goes through, a little bit of a rut, and we just found ours right now. And, again, we got plenty of time left to do what we got to do. Boston obviously is a good team, but we're not concerned about Boston. Our biggest concern is making sure that we're doing what we need to do to go out and be as good as we possibly can. And we got plenty of time to figure it out, and we will.
The Pistons have now lost 4 straight games after not losing more than 2 in a row this season up to this point. Their offense has scuffled during the streak, scoring just 107.5 points per game. A big hello here to Vince Goodwill joining us now. Thanks for coming by. We're getting cozy here at the desk. Look, you've been around this team quite a bit. What's the most concerning part about this losing streak?
I think, and we can all agree with this, around the trade deadline, we were all looking at the Eastern Conference and saying, is Detroit going to do something? Cleveland loaded up. Boston's getting Jayson Tatum back. New York got Jose Alvarado to bolster their bench. Detroit did nothing. Or they traded Jaden Ivey and wound up getting Kevin Huerter, who has yet to make a contribution. And you're looking at that offense, and you're looking at how dependent it is on Cade Cunningham. They're very dependent on defense leading the offense. And with Asar Thompson being out for the next week with that ankle injury, that's a big blow to them. And this is something that teams are concerned about loading up into the playoffs.
I think it's a little something here. I mean, look, I think Cade, they gave him a night off against Brooklyn thinking we should be able to beat the Nets without Cade, and they did not. And that's part of why we have this 4-game losing streak. But what that game to me was important is when you don't have Cade out there, that's the time for Jalen Duren to step up. That's the time where you carry the team. And when when you talked about they didn't go get somebody else to create shots, to go create offense, that's what we're noticing, and that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. As teams are going to try to take Cade away. They're going to make it difficult on him, just like teams do with Anthony Edwards in Minnesota.
Well, he's also doing it all for that team, Mark.
And this is a team where they're still young. This is new to them. This is probably going to be good for them. This is the first real big adversity that they face this season. And you want, if you're JB Bickerstaff, you want them to face adversity now, then hit them in the playoffs for the first time. So I think they'll learn from this. Obviously, as Vinny mentioned, they need Thompson back. But nobody expected them to be in the front like this, and even if they get caught by Boston, if they're the number 2 seed, it's still a heck of a move for these Pistons.
It's incredible. The lead in the East, by the way, is down to just 2.5 games, Tim. How important is that 1 seed for Detroit?
Well, I'm going to go back to what J.B. Bickerstaff said in that clip, which to me, it's much more important whether Detroit is first or second in the East than that they're playing the way they were earlier in the season going into the playoffs. And I'll go back to what Vince said before. We laid out the problems with the team right now. At the trade deadline, they chose to stand pat. They chose to let's let this young group marinate and see where it goes. Now, that's a fine thing to do. However, when you're in the top 4 in the East and you see these additions across the board, and as Vince also pointed out, we all could see at the time the Pistons had one very clear deficiency. They have Cade Cunningham, who's an all-world guy with the ball in his hands, and nobody else there to help him. And they came out of the trade deadline. They did not make any changes there. And you saw, especially in those 2 games against the Spurs recently. I'm not too worried about the games this weekend. But those 2 games against the Spurs, another championship caliber team, what happened? Cade really struggled against the combination of Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, and Detroit could not get their offense going. And I think if you talk to people around the league, that is potentially a preview of what this team could look like in the playoffs, which, again, to Mark's point, it's a young team. It's not necessarily maybe the end of the world. But for a team that's been in the position they're in the East all year and they had a wide open conference to take advantage of, people are going to look back and wonder what could have been if they fall short in the playoffs.
There was a lot of internal debate with the Pistons front office of whether we go for it or we stand pat and go through this Oklahoma City sort of model of, hey, we might be a year ahead of schedule, where Oklahoma City was 2 years ago when they had the number 1 seed in the West and they lost in the second round, and then they made the big leap. The problem is you don't know what next year is going to bring. Just because they did it doesn't mean you're going to do it.
And Jalen was talking championship to me a couple weeks ago. Let's see what they got this last stretch.
That Miami Heat game, that could be your play-in 1-8 matchup.
Yeah. Wait, I like that.
Ooh, I don't think Detroit would.
Why?
Miami's undefeated.
Miami girly. That's all I'm going to find. That's it. Nothing else to see here. All right, coming up. Yeah, hard to think of anybody that had a better weekend than Victor Wembanyama. Let's just take a look at what that actually looked like. Friday.
Picture of him, I'm just blown away at how much
it's insane. This was Friday against the Clippers. Just doing Wemby things, alien things.
And those are the threes I like him taking. The catch and shoot, open threes.
It's ridiculous.
You know the Spurs fans still boo Kawhi? I was watching that game. I think they're still booing.
Listen to what it sounded like in there.
That was one of the best wins I've been part of. That was definitely the best 30 hours of basketball, the best 30 hours of my life for sure.
Yeah, that was him after his emotions after that win there. San Antonio took over, and Wemby recorded his 13th game this season with at least 25 points and 4 blocks. That's 10 more than any other player. So we continue on, transitioning to Rockets Spurs. Okay.
Hey, did you see what his mom said about
It's
this?
a no-look block, you guys.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
My son looks 6'1" next to him.
I mean, everybody looks 6'1".
Everybody looks 6'1".
I don't.
I mean,
5'1".
never been tinier.
4'1".
Never been tinier.
This also wasn't bad. That looks like a guy playing against.
Come on.
How many dudes
just
there?
Unbelievable.
3, and KD was like, you know what, it's fine.
One of the Monstars.
Yeah. Literally, actually.
I mean, that's against a Ben Thompson, one of the best
Spurs
man-to-man defenders
blow
in
out
the
the
league, and
Rockets.
it didn't matter.
145-120 is crazy.
Gotta get used to that drum, though.
All right, the Spurs have won 15 of their last 16 games to move 2.5 games back of the Thunder for the West top seed. The Spurs have beaten Detroit twice, plus OKC, Houston, and the Lakers once during this stretch. The Spurs have been elite on both ends since the start of February, leading the league in offensive efficiency and ranking 4th in defensive efficiency in that time. They've also been outscoring teams by nearly 14 a game.
Jeez.
And since the All-Star break, Wemby has blocked 45 shots in 10 games played. That's more blocks than 14 entire teams have in this time, and 28 blocks more than any other player.
Wow.
Why? This isn't even fair, you guys. The Spurs are just 2 losses back of the Thunder for the 1 seed and hold the tiebreaker over OKC. Mark, what statement did Wemby and company make to you over the weekend?
The statement I'm looking forward to is we get to see playoff basketball back in San Antonio. If you haven't been there in the playoffs,
it's a time.
Man, it's a vibe. Mariachi music, just people that like eat, sleep, drink, and live Spurs basketball. And I think with Victor, he's feeling some good vibes, and the pressure of it will go away. 22 consecutive seasons the Spurs played in the playoffs. 5 championships, and they haven't been there since 2019. And they weren't there in Victor's first 2 seasons. And now he's going to get an opportunity to bring that place back to life. I could hear the Go Spurs Go chants right now. I'm excited to see Victor and the Spurs back in the playoffs.
Listen, I can't get over that scene of him with in his feelings, right, in his emotions after the comeback win against the Clippers. That was the second night of a back-to-back. And I feel like when I watch Victor, everything that's wrong with the NBA, he is been sent here to fix. Like the All-Star game, he's going to fix that.
Right.
He said a couple weeks ago, I'll do the dunk contest. You can fix the dunk contest.
Speaks on off-the-court issues.
Speaks on off-the-court issues, the emotion, caring about every game, load management, tanking. He's not going to do. Look at this guy. He's going to fix every problem that we have in the NBA.
Bring some good vibes.
I came away from this weekend, just the highlights from this weekend going, do we need to think about him as the MVP this year? I mean, I know he's already in your straw poll that you do, but and I had voted for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's done nothing to lose it. But Victor has been so special this past year.
Stay healthy, right? Just stay healthy.
You have to look at him as an MVP candidate now, especially if they can catch the Thunder.
Yep, I mean, he was 4th in the last straw poll. We'll do the next one in a few weeks. It's down to him, Shai, and Jokic, I think. One of those 3 guys is going to be the MVP of the league. And look, the Spurs are trying to do something that's basically never happened before, which is skip all the steps and get to the top of the mountain with no playoff experience on the roster, right? Outside of Harrison Barnes, who has been there.
Fox.
And De'Aaron Fox has been in 1 playoff series.
7-game series.
In 1 first-round series that he lost. Everybody else has no experience in the playoffs at all, and the main guys are all super young in their careers, led by, obviously, this guy, Victor Wembanyama, who, by the way, just was named Western Conference Player of the Week a couple of minutes ago alongside Tyler Hero, who we talked about earlier. So, look, the Spurs have incredible size across the board. They've got this singular weapon in Victor, the likes of which we've really never seen before. You said it, Mark. We've got to see him stay healthy down the stretch. But to me, it's Oklahoma City, it's Denver, and the Spurs were the 3 teams in the West with a legitimate chance to get out of the conference. And we'll see if the Spurs can take advantage of the opportunity in front of them. No.
No mini?
He said no.
Nope.
Conference finals.
He took the shot, though, Mark. He shot it down.
Yeah.
You hear that, Ant-Man?
Just like Wemby would.
Here's everything.
Blocked. All right, we're shifting to the WNBA now. The league sent a collective bargaining agreement proposal to the union a day after it received one from the players. A source told ESPN's Alexa Philippou on Sunday. Now, the WNBA's response to a union proposal comes just a few days before Tuesday's deadline set by the league. The proposal states they would need to have at least a handshake agreement with the players to start the season on time. So for more, let's bring in Alexa Philippou all over this one. With the self-imposed deadline here, Alexa, right around the corner, what more can you tell us about where things stand with the WNBA labor talks?
Well, MJ, everyone's kind of waiting to see what happens next. We do know the ball's in the union's court technically, since they just received that proposal back from the league on Saturday. One thing I'm looking at is whether or not there ends up being a meeting scheduled heading into deadline day or around deadline day, because that's something that we heard a few players over the weekend, Caitlin Clark among them, Brianna Stewart as well, talking about as maybe that's what's needed to get this thing across the finish line, that face-to-face interaction. I do know, too, that my understanding is the league is open to a possibility of meeting with players. Whether or not we see that with players or, a meeting without them remains to be seen. But the other factor that's kind of presiding over all of this is really just how real is that March 10th, quote-unquote, deadline. We do know that the union, when it officially got that, date put in front of them, thought that that was more of, a tactic by the league to try and get the players to want to agree to a deal before they felt ready to. But the league, however, they've, said this whole time that it's more of like a target date, and yet they're still operating that they need to get this deal done sooner rather than later, as soon as possible, if they want to avoid any changes to the schedule.
Yeah, definitely a huge sense of urgency without question. Alexa, thank you for keeping us honest with all of this. So let's break this down for everyone. Tomorrow is the WNBA's deadline.
I think I wrote it down when I was in like 3rd grade, so just excited about this opportunity. And I remember Kara Callan talking to us, like when me and Paige, and I know AB isn't here, but even I played with Ryan on the U19 team. Like on the junior national teams, there's only going to be like a couple of you that end up making it to make a senior debut. So whether that's the World Cup, whether the World Cup qualifier, whether that's, the Olympics, every single part of it and part of the journey is really special. So I know we're a ways away even from the World Cup and obviously a ways away from the Olympics, but this is still really exciting in itself and kind of the first step in this journey.
Team USA has already qualified for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, but will still play 5 qualifying games to prepare for the World Cup starting Wednesday in Puerto Rico with a match against Senegal. Right, basketball season is upon us. Here's our NBA Today Big 3 for the weekend, starting with Cam Boozer, who balled out in Duke's win over UNC Saturday at Cameron Indoor. The dynamic freshman big man became the first Duke player in at least the last 45 seasons with 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists in a game. Then there's Braden Burries, who poured in a career-high 31 points in his 11th 20-point game in this season in Arizona's comeback win over Colorado. The win broke Arizona's program record for most regular season victories. The Wildcats are now 29-2 overall, 16-2 in the Big 12, entering the conference tourney. And we can't talk Big 3 without talking about A.J. Diabasa. He scored 21 points as BYU upset number 10 Texas Tech on Saturday. Diabasa now has 10 straight 20-point game in conference play, breaking a tie with Trae Young, Kevin Durant, and Rafe LaFrentz in the longest single-season streak in Big 12 history. So Champ Week is officially here, my friends, which means college hoops conference tournaments will take over our airwaves all week long. Tim, what are you watching for?
Well, I'm going to be going to Kansas City to see the Big 12 tournament.
Let's
and
go.
You just talked about A.J. Debanza there. There are a ton of NBA prospects in this draft. In our top 100 by Jeremy Wu, 9 of the top 24 players are in the Big 12. That includes Koa Pete and Braden Burries, who you just mentioned from Arizona, Chris Senack and Kingston Flemings, the 2 awesome freshmen from the University of Houston, and obviously A.J. Debanza and Darren Peterson, the 2 guys that have been going back and forth all year long as the potential #1 picks in this year's draft. Peterson's obviously dealt with the cramping issues at times, but he has been out on the court lately. He's had some spectacular games. You see the numbers here from Debanza. He has gotten better and better as the season's gone along. Each of these guys are ridiculous scorers, can get wherever they want on the court. They've got great positional size. It's probably going to be a battle all the way through the draft process to see who ends up with the #1 overall pick at the end of the day, but it's going to be a fun week in Kansas City. I'm excited to see it.
Use my inner perk. Man, this draft is deeper than the Gulf of Mexico.
That's a good perk.
Yeah, I mean, you know this draft is good if this guy is going to Kansas City in the middle of the NBA season. That tells you a lot. I just got my credential for San Jose. I think I got my credential. But a couple months ago, I saw Cam Boozer when he played against Cal, sat courtside. He's all of that, 6'10", 270, huge kid. The odd thing is, as great as this probably player of the nation is going to be or is, he's not going to be the #1 pick, it doesn't look like, which probably is strange to a lot of people. But that just shows how highly regarded Darren Peterson is. Also, the athleticism that Caleb Wilson and A.J. Debanza, like, that has pushed him back to, I believe, the #4 spot. The good thing for Cam is he's going to have plenty of basketball in the ACC tournament, in the NCAA tournament, to kind of try to prove these scouts wrong and move up the ladder. He's doing nothing wrong. It's just the upside from those other guys are just way too high. Mikael Brown Jr. from Louisville, a bucket, a big-time bucket. He's had the back issues. Let's see if he plays on Wednesday in the ACC tournament. He's a guy, whoever gets him, as long as he's healthy, he's going to get you a bucket. He scores with his eyes closed. Sadly, Caleb Wilson from North Carolina, man, he is so good, so athletic. Got Dominique Wilkins' athleticism. He's done. We'll see him at the draft in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean,
got the thumb injury.
You mentioned it, Mark. This has really got a chance to be a generational draft.
Like it is.
The top 7. Well, you got to see how it plays out, but the top 7 or 8 prospects in this draft are really otherworldly. And you look at Cam Boozer's numbers: 22, 10, and 4, 58% from the field, 41% from 3. Those are insane numbers for a big guy. The fact he's not a lock for the #1 pick, that shows you just how good this draft is. We haven't talked about Kingston Flemings from Houston.
What about Tunde from Baylor? You're about to see him.
He's a late first-round pick in this draft.
I think he'll move up.
Well, he might, but we haven't talked about Darius Acuff from Arkansas, who's had a 48-point game this year. Keaton Wagler, who's had another 48-point game in Illinois. Like, this draft has got really unbelievable potential across the board. It's why so many teams, frankly, have been trying to position themselves, to put it charitably, with, trying to get as high up in the lottery as they can.
Kareem Lopez.
Kareem Lopez, who's playing in New Zealand with the New Zealand Breakers and the NBL in Australia. I mean, it is an unbelievable draft. It's why there's been so much tanking this year. It's why there's so much focus on it. And it does set up for a really interesting couple of months to see where these teams land. And there are a lot of NBA teams that have May 10th circled on the calendar right now. Nate Ament at Tennessee. That's when the NBA draft lottery is. There's going to be a lot of interested eyeballs on where everybody winds up then.
Our cup runneth over, and I love it for us. It's going to be so good. And they're about to ball out in the tournament as well. Okay, in case you missed it, last night, LeBron did not play, but hey, Bronny sure did.
Oh, I haven't seen this yet. I heard about it.
This shit's done.
Is that
During the
Santa
South Bay
Claus?
Lakers G League game. Come on, Bronny.
Who jumped? Who's 77? Who's 70?
I don't know, but he caught a body.
He didn't get there, whoever it is.
Right.
It was a nice stuff by Bronny.
Over by the beach boardwalk.